Our next session is all about legacy and leverage. How second generation entrepreneurs are building world-class companies. That's what we are going to talk about in our next session. So carrying forward a legacy is very important challenge. Reinventing is another. This session dives into how second generation entrepreneurs are blending inherited wisdom with modern strategy, technology, and global ambition. It's all about leveraging trust, networks, and foundations built over decades while thinking bigger, moving faster, and building companies that compete on the world stage. Well, to conduct the session as our panelist, I may request Akash Goenka from Golden Spices. Akash Goenka from Goldie Spices. Mr. Rohit Agrawal from Rimjhim, Ispat. May I request you to please join us. Next, Mr. Shashank Agrawal from Kanpur, Plastipack. Mr. Abhishek Kapoor from Regency Health. And Mr. Jay Agrawal from Gyan Dairy. We also would like to request Anirudh Damani, our moderator from Artha Venture. Heartiest welcome to our panelists and to our moderator, Mr. Anirudh Damani. I would now like to request Mr. Damani to kindly take the session forward.
Anirudh. Yeah.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So, just started off, I'll say, we often talk about first generation founders, and many of them I met last night as, these bold, hungry, rewriting the rules kind of people. Unke time mein jo hua tha, wo unke time mein hua tha, right? And but today's conversation is about a different, right? It's about us who inherited that legacy, who inherited these big shoes that we had to fill, and the reputation, and sometimes even maybe some unfinished ambition that was there, right? But the question isn't whether they could carry it. What was built is whether they can transform it, because obviously business has changed dramatically since the generation before us, what they inherited. So across India and globally, we're seeing second generation leaders professionalize governance, globalize family businesses, institutionalize culture, embrace technology, and build companies that are not just profitable, but truly world-class. And so today we'll explore how they can balance respect for legacy with the courage to reinvent, how they introduce structure without losing entrepreneurial speed, and how they can shift from family run to family run to institutional build. Legacy is powerful, obviously. It gives you a head start, but it can also set a benchmark. So with that, I'm truly excited to introduce all these leaders in front of me, Jay, Abhishek, Shashank, and Rohit. The first task I'll give you, okay, and we have to keep it short, because I know you would love to talk about your businesses, but right now what I just want you to talk about, just introduce yourself, your family legacy, and your professional journey up to joining the current business. So we'll stop right there because there's a lot more to talk about there. Okay, so let's start off with Rohit.
Thank you, Anirudh. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure being here. So I represent Rimjhim Ispat. Our company is into stainless steel manufacturing. And today we are India's second largest stainless steel manufacturer with operations in the state of UP as well as Odisha. Obviously, I owe it to my family as the topic of today's discussion, leveraging the legacy. So very proud to carry forward the legacy. Obviously, joining a family business has pressures, as Anirudh has already pointed out, the benchmark, but it's already a great, you can say, privilege to lead that business ahead. As for my past background, I did my engineering at McGill University in Canada. Post that, since I'm the eldest in the family, so my father was like, you have to come back. So the day I got my degree, the next day I was on the flight back to Kanpur. I joined the business immediately, and have been involved in business since then. So for me, my professional experience has been all about Rimjhim, leading Rimjhim.
Wonderful, thank you. Shashank, over to you.
So, hello everyone, glad to be here and extremely excited. So, I am Shashank. I represent Kanpur Plastipack, a legacy of over 50 years. We are into industrial packaging, exporting over 50 countries. So I really believe legacy is an asset. It's also a responsibility. Just not an asset, but it's also a responsibility to take it forward. I have been a proud Jaipurian. After that, I did manufacturing engineering from Nottingham. And soon after that, I came back to joining business. I did my engineering because I wanted to join back the business. So it was pretty much set that I was focused that I have to come back and join the business.
Okay, yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. Abhishek, over to you.
Thanks, Anirudh. Hi everyone, my name is Abhishek and I represent Regency over here, and we are the largest healthcare provider in the state of UP as of now. My personal journey before that, I did my undergrad in finance, and I worked at consulting firms, Pricewaterhouse, E&Y, Deloitte, strategy consulting side, and then financial valuation side. Went to Chicago to Kellogg for my MBA, worked over there, and then accidentally while working there, I was sent to Bangalore while I was working with Devita, and that's when I actually got a very structured exposure to the sector, and I thought I'll come back and do something different. I actually came back to set up a dialysis chain, but that didn't work out at all, and then finally moved to scaling up the family business of the multi-speciality hospitals we have. A lot of people have been commenting on legacy. I think when you're in a family business, legacy sometimes I just think it's more of a male ego when people talk about what kind of legacy do you want to leave. But I think we are just doing our fiduciary duty. It's a fiduciary responsibility to our family to grow the business. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Abhishek. Over to you.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. I'm Jay. We are into manufacturing of dairy products. So we are a fully integrated dairy company along with cattle feed. And our parental business actually is of manufacturing of chewing tobacco, Kheni, and based out of Farrukhabad. And when I graduated, came back to Farrukhabad, my hometown, and dad was at his prime, so he said कि इस काम में तुम्हें नहीं बैठना है, तुम कुछ और करो जा करके. And then me and my younger brother were sent to Lucknow to set up this dairy business, and somehow that was a global super cycle for commodities. In the very first year we made some good profits, and since then we have been investing heavily into dairy, and by God's grace we have been very successful in that.
Definitely, and we've heard so much about it. So why don't we start maybe in reverse order, right? But in your case, Jay, what was, when you think about the business when you came, and if you imagine that to be version 1.0, right? What is version 2.0 today?
So when we came on to business, it was a very unorganized business. Dairy per se, we were manufacturing only ghee and skim milk powder. That was the commodity side. And we never believed that we could be an organized large-scale dairy player.
I see.
In fact, in those days, private sector companies in UP, none of the companies had that kind of vision. But over a period of years, I think the whole industry changed. And now the whole industry is very, very professionalized, cutting edge technology, and a lot of investment on the back end, infrastructure, on the teams, people. So I think.
But did you modernize people first, or did you modernize the process first?
Very difficult to say. I think people first. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we did not have the technical capability. We had the fire, we had the vision, but did not have the technical capability to actually establish the right kind of dairy company.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Abhishek, over to you. Same question. When what was version 1? What's version 2?
I think version 1, we came back. I mean, so our flagship hospital was established in 95, 96, and we were the largest corporate hospital at that point of time. That was version 1. Version 2 right now is, we are now present. We have 6 hospitals running about close to 1,500 beds, and in the next 3 years, we'll be present in 7 of UP cities, and with the vision that nobody living in UP should be more than 1.5 hours away from a Regency hospital. So that's version 2. I mean, if I think about 2012 when I came back, I actually said I didn't know what I had to do. I was sitting idle for like almost 2 years. I mean, not sitting idle, but I don't think there was any value add from my side, because I was just figuring out how everything is working out over here, and where can I actually, add value, or whatever I had learned, whatever I could do. But it's been a tremendous journey for the last.
What was the internal resistance the hardest? Like family, senior staff, or the market?
No, I don't think any of that. I think what we are talking about now, what we are doing now is a massive scale expansion, right? These multi-speciality hospitals, very, very high capex. I don't think the entire system could even, including me, could think that we can actually do this, right?
Wow.
So that we were limited by our own thoughts. So, and before the external scale-up happens, you have to actually internally scale up, and that took a good amount of 5 years that we can actually do this, right?
I see. Wow.
So you have to scale up your mind, you have to scale up your people, you have to scale up your systems before you actually scale up the business. So I think that's the journey that took almost 7-8 years. It took almost 5, 6, 7 years for us to raise the first round after I came back and open the next hospital. And after that, now we are almost doing it almost 1 hospital per year and a 400-bed hospital. So if we had not scaled up mentally, we would not have been able to achieve this.
And of course, you had to then professionalize because you took on external investment as well in this.
Yeah, so I think that's a complete mindset shift, right? With existing employees, with the family, with everybody, because when you come to your business, you think you're the best, right? हर businessman ये सोचता है यार मैं तो अपने business में best हूँ, and आपके नीचे जितने भी लोग हैं 1000, 2000 जो भी काम करते हैं, आप जज करते हो कि कौन ठीक से काम कर रहा है, कौन नहीं काम कर रहा है.
True.
But आपको तो कोई नहीं देख रहा. And once you get an external investor, it's actually a mirror shown to you कि boss आप ठीक काम कर रहे हो कि नहीं कर रहे हो, whether you're on the right path or not. But it's a good and bad thing both. Right? You definitely scale up because somebody's showing the mirror to you.
True.
And at times, it's always good to have the comfort that whatever steps you're taking, and there is a community of, 200 people operating between BKC and Lower Parel who are, validating it. So that's a good validation, and that's all you need, just to prove to yourself that you're on the right path.
No, I also asked you this question because it's a lead into my next question to the person right next to you, Shashank. Obviously, I think Kanpur Plastipack was already listed by the time you came in. Now, when you have a private investor, maybe things stay a little bit private, but when you're trying to make a version 2.0 from a version 1.0 in a publicly listed company, right, the challenges could be far higher, because obviously you need to also educate, unfortunately, not just the 200 people between Lower Parel and BKC, but people that could be from across India, right, like people from Gujarat, people from possibly from Kanpur, Lucknow. So what was the business that you inherited in version 1.0, and what was it in 2.0, and what was the challenge of doing it in a publicly listed company?
So I think version 1.0 was more about capacity building, capability building, and version 2.0 is more about credibility. So we are in a hardcore business of manufacturing and exports. So reliability is something that we breathe. So I mean, predictability is what makes anybody sleep. So if my customers can predict that the goods would be there on time, if my suppliers can predict the cash flow, if my people can predict in what kind of company they are in, half the work is over. So I think version 2.0 was more of that. Version 1.0 was more of grit, hustle, hard work, founder-driven, relationships-driven. But version 2.0 is more about process, more about transparency, governance, more like being structured and transparent.
Wonderful. And what were the challenges of bringing that into a publicly listed company, or was there no challenge at all in your opinion?
So I don't see governance as a challenge per se, because even the version 1.0 was always spot on, and we were always more internal looking than external looking.
Okay.
So and we still are. So I don't see that as a challenge, but making information public sometimes slows the growth.
Yep.
And it also makes the competitors aware of a lot of things that are going to happen, and you can't keep it under wraps.
Yep.
So I would say that is the only challenge, but it has more advantages than disadvantages.
Fair enough.
So it gives a platform, a lever to use it, to fire it, to exit it at whatever moment you want. So the power of that lever is always very high.
Wonderful. And then we'll move to Rohit. I think you stayed private from what I gathered, but you've also had an M&A. I think you've acquired a company.
We have acquired company.
Exactly, but you've acquired a company. So this is a very interesting. I think we've had private, public, M&A, fresh company, right? So we've got a very interesting panel here. But asking you the same question, but version 1.0 when you inherited, obviously you were just out of college. So I'm guessing 1.0 was whatever 1.0 was.
Yeah. So so for us, Rimjhim basically started in 1990. I joined the company in 2015. So that was a good 25 years of journey. So when I joined, we were 1,500 crores of top line. Now we are in excess of 6,000.
Wow.
So that's 4x in like 10 years. But still, I would not say it is something version 2.0. It was definitely continuity of the same policies. Yes, when we joined, like it was me, now my brother has joined. So whenever the second generation comes into business, it is lot of fresh energy. In our case, one big advantage also was at least we were very inward looking, as Shashank has also pointed out. So since I had studied abroad, I was always like, oh, we have to grow. It was the startup culture, so you were always looking at unicorns and you were like, what are we doing in Kanpur? So I had always came back with a very growth-oriented mindset that, okay, now we have to grow this. That will actually be the legacy I would leave behind. Like, I remember joining back, I would always talk to my mom and I was like, no matter how much Rimjhim grows, it will always be dad's company. Like, even after 10 years, everyone will be like, my dad's name, Yogesh ji ki company hai, so who will say Rohit ne ye kara hai? So, but then you have to get out of the male ego, what you have pointed out. It's a tremendous privilege to be able to lead an organization now. We have 5,000 people with us. So version 2.0 is more agile Rimjhim company focused on growth, and for that we have stayed private, but we have focused on growth opportunities. So the Odisha factory that I was talking about, we have acquired that through NCLT. Recently we acquired another plant in Jaunpur, a power plant. So yeah, now there is growth mindset in the organization.
And do we see listing in the future?
I won't comment on that. I don't have a conclusive answer on that.
No, let me start from that end now, right? So, and very quick answers this one. I want to make it. So when you joined the business, right? What was one thing that shocked you, one thing that surprised you, and one thing that was eye-opening?
Shocking, I would say, was our data keeping. Because we were doing so much, you would have the most complex of data and it would come on paper. You ask your people about the production report, kahan par hai sir, last month ki file aa jayegi, reports where everything was there on files, papers. So that was something which was, I would not say shocking, because I was aware what is happening. I used to have grown up in the ecosystem. But that was one thing which we felt needed to change.
Like digitizing it, so it's faster.
Digitizing the processes, digitizing the data. So yeah, ERPs and all of that. So that all happened post the version 2.0, as you point out.
Correct. And what was surprising when you joined? That could, I mean, it's usually a positive surprise. Oh, हम ये भी करते हैं, type, like.
No, so I remember joining. I asked my dad, like, okay, because even then 2015, that size was decent scale for Kanpur, being in Kanpur, and I was like, आपसे कोई माल खरीदता क्यों है? I was like, आपकी USP क्या है? मतलब मैंने कहा मैं business join कर रहा हूँ, हमें पता तो होना चाहिए USP क्या है. And then he said कि being in UP, we can produce the cheapest and the best quality of stainless steel. I mean, that was a positive surprise. मुझे तब समझ नहीं आता था यार, why would you say that we can do that? But yes, when you enter business, you see certain processes, certain disciplines that we have followed, certain technologies that we have adopted. So yeah, that was
and anything eye-opening, which was like.
Eye-opener, I would say, was the scale of things, honestly. Like, so I am an engineer. I was not used to dealing with numbers. But once you get back, you are thrust into bank meetings, meeting with the finance. So obviously, since we are not private, public, so we deal with banks' money. We have a lot of debt. So meeting with the bankers. So just the scale of those numbers and dealing with that, and how one good quarter, one good year, certain changes in your processes can completely change the outlook of the company. Your rating improves. You see your interest come down substantially. You see the bankers' response change tremendously. So that was very surprising and heartening. But now easy access to capital opens so much opportunities, as you have also pointed out.
Absolutely. Shashank, for you, I think, because again, you came into a setup that's already exists. And sometimes, I mean, I can say it myself, when I joined my father's business, what I thought from outside, I'm like, ये भी नहीं करते होंगे, वो भी नहीं करते होंगे. There was like an insane amount of data available, and I that's why I can truly empathize and understand what Rohit was talking about. But in your case, when you joined, what was like truly shocking?
So two things, right? So data is one thing. There was a lot of data. Data was there, but the insight and the structure wasn't there.
Achha.
It wasn't connected, right? So this new term, data lake,
yeah.
right? So that wasn't there. So that was one thing. The second thing was that organization chart exists. There's an organogram, right? But there are power centers, informal power centers. There are so many things. So what schools, colleges don't teach is how meetings are conducted, how decisions are made.
Yep.
Decisions are not made on data, they're made on gut, right? So, and for that you need the data, right? So that was something very shocking for me.
And what was surprising?
So, surprising was that intelligence doesn't matter, experience does.
Wonderful. Wow, that's very well said.
Yeah, so emotional, the emotions to the loyalty of a legacy and the experience is far more important than loyalty.
I almost would say that's eye-opening, actually, even for me to hear that. Wow.
Yeah.
And was there anything that eye-opening for you when you after you joined?
So yeah, I mean, this is an this was an
I guess
eye-opening, right?
it's
So
important.
I mean, why I realized this was because logic cannot solve problems,
Yes.
but emotions and experience mixed with that can do that, right? So, end of the day, that's all what we do.
Very, very well said. I'm going to move this over to you, Abhishek. To you, and obviously you come from there's a bit of a hospitality thing also that happens with hospitals. So I want to ask you same question, right? Like you step in, you're trying to now make these big multi-specialty hospitals in Uttar Pradesh, right? And obviously at a time when all of this was not as digital as you would see it today. Insurance wasn't as penetrative as it is today, and people were not as health conscious or even medically conscious as they are today. Maybe a little bit too medically conscious. I mean, ChatGPT queries for medical stuff is insane at the moment. But leaving that out, to you, what was shocking when you first entered this space?
I think a couple of things. The most shocking thing, and coming from the US, having worked in a healthcare firm in the US, where the only thing spoken about was quality. And I come back and I was trying to set up this, trying to set up this dialysis chain, and we did a JV and everything. And the most shocking thing was that people are willing to pay for quality for everything else but health at that point of time.
Wow.
100 rupee price difference for a better quality, I'm actually talking about 100 rupees, can move patient loyalties and take them to somewhere else. 100 rupees.
100 rupees.
Yes. So in the whole dialysis model, one tubing which we were not willing to reuse and which others were reusing, that cost 155 rupees to be exact, and it was getting added to the treatment cost, and patients are not willing to accept that price point, and it was 150 rupees. And that just, so for everybody, let that sink in, right? And we are talking about quality, and we are talking about the best in class and everything, but the people who are actually consuming it, and that's when the hardest thing hit, that nobody is paying for healthcare by choice. They are paying because they need to pay. You can still go to a hotel and restaurant, order the best bottle of wine and, you know, the most rare beef. But if I tell you I'm going to charge you double and give you the best quality, people are going to judge you. Ye mehenga hai, chor hai, etc. Right? So that was the first thing. I was like, okay. The second thing that surprised me was accountability. And you know, you would get up in the morning and tell somebody under you, तुम्हारा आज दिन का एक ही काम है, इस फोन को उठा के सिर्फ यहाँ तक रखना है. आपने 9 बजे बोला, आप 12 बजे पूछोगे, वो फोन वहीं पड़ा हुआ है. 3 बजे पूछोगे तो भी फोन वहीं पड़ा है. And you will have to ask the 4th time. And now you've already asked thrice. And उन 3 बार उस बंदे ने आपको ऐसे आंसर्स दिए हैं कि आपको लगने लगता है कि उसकी प्रॉब्लम जेन्युइन है. हाँ भाई, ये कैसे कर सकता था? ये तो सही कह रहा है. And then कि बस ultimately हम लोग सब कुछ, you know, at these conferences, these events, you know, entrepreneur ये सब हो जाता है, सब कुछ. Ultimately we are just glorified HR managers जिनको लोगों से काम कराना होता है, चाहे वो 1 लाख का आदमी होता है, 1 करोड़ का आदमी होता है. काम आपको उसे डंडा मार के कराना पड़ता है. And that's the thing that I've learned over by making mistakes. I thought hiring the best people, you can just forget about it, but now I'm a firm believer, चाहे वो you get the best person, but if you can't get the work out of him, he'll become the worst employee.
Absolutely, and you said it best. I think you've almost covered all 3 points in one point. But getting work, I mean, getting productivity out of a person is not just about rules, right? It's also about, and I think Shashank, you mentioned earlier, it's about emotion. You're getting emotionally connected and getting them motivated to really go out there and bat for you, right? So great. Was there anything that you want to add on the surprising or eye-opening part?
No, I think the list can be endless. I mean, we have so much to learn when you're growing a company over 10 years, but I have to...
Over to you, Jay. So Jay, you joined a completely new business, and I'm sure all of us, you know, कि हमने क्या बॉलीवुड की बहुत मूवीज देख लेते हैं हम लोग बच्चे हुए, you know, कि उद्योगपति कैसे होते हैं types, right? But when you joined and you started, right, and this was literally sort of a startup as far as I understand. तो आपको तो लगा होगा कि जैसे बॉलीवुड दिखाते हैं कि सीधा एक सीन में आपने दरवाजा खोला, कंपनी बनी, सेकंड सीन में आदमी सीधा, you know, AC कार में घूम रहा है. बट आई एम श्योर ऐसा नहीं हुआ होगा. आई एम आस्किंग यू द क्वेश्चन, व्हाट वाज शॉकिंग फॉर यू व्हेन यू जॉइंड बिजनेस एंड व्हेन यू स्टार्टेड?
आई मीन फरुखाबाद में खैनी का बिजनेस करते हुए, एंड देन यू कम टू डू डेयरी बिजनेस इन लखनऊ. सो ऑलमोस्ट एवरीथिंग वाज शॉकिंग, बट इंटरेस्टिंगली द मोस्ट शॉकिंग थिंग वाज कि कंप्यूटर पे अकाउंट्स रखना पड़ेगा. So back home, I mean, there we were writing रोजनामचा लिखते थे and हाथ से लेजर लिखते थे, and that is what we had learned at our parental business. And here also, when we started the dairy business, for 18 months we were doing that only. So Anuj used to, you know, uska handwriting thoda zyada, my younger brother, he used to write faster than me. So he used to write the Rojnamcha and I used to write the ledger. And because we could not find accountants who could write these accounts books.
Oh wow.
They said tally पे काम करेंगे, हमने कहा tally हमको नहीं समझ में आता. So but yes, we acquainted because it's not possible to keep accounts in dairy industry manually. So that was one thing that was very different that we encountered, and almost everything, I would say everything beyond that, because we came into a very, very different business.
That's true.
It needed agility. We were, used to waking up early in the morning and sleeping for 2 hours in the afternoon. We used to, कमरे में, in our office, we had these 2 gaddas हमारे टेबल के नीचे, and at 2 p.m. after having lunch, we used to just open that gadda and go to sleep. So, but again, city life, it changes you. Surprising was the potential of dairy business in this geography, because my Jija, who is the largest dairy products manufacturer in North India, he said कि यार अगर तुमने पहले 2 साल में 50 लाख रुपए भी कमा लिए तो फिर तुम्हें गुरु मान जाएंगे. Because it's very difficult, and he had struggled a lot in his early days, but we made profits from day one.
Wow.
And because this geography was so, underserviced, unexplored, we made profits from day one, and that was the most surprising part, and we were happily surprised. And it was a very interesting thing to go on from there. And eye-opener, was the kind of adulteration in milk, because we had only heard about it. We hadn't seen it firsthand. It was shocking, it was an eye-opener, it was surprising, it was everything all in one. Like Abhishek said, quality of health services and people willing to pay for that. You just tell the amount कि मुझे 10 रुपए का दूध चाहिए तो 10 रुपए का मिलेगा, 20 रुपए का चाहिए तो 20 रुपए का मिलेगा. So they could curate the milk accordingly. The protein, the fat, everything they could create. And it was damn shocking.
Sentences, so because we got three questions in literally 6 minutes. So quickly, in 2 sentences for you, Jay, when you say you're building a world-class company, in 2 sentences, what does that mean?
So for me, in food companies, world-class company means world-class quality, and world-class quality means world-class infrastructure and world-class teams. So that is what the definition of a world-class company is for me.
Wonderful. Abhishek, over to you.
I think for us it means providing the best medical outcomes that the world is seeing at the India price levels.
For me, it's operations excellence and predictability in everything. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we end up creating product which is a backbone for a lot of the new age infrastructure creation that is happening, be it railways. So the Vande Bharat trains, we supply the steel sheets for that.
Yep.
We recently rolled steel plates which went into BrahMos. So for us, we feel we play a important role in a lot of the new age developments happening in the country. So if we end up creating world-class manufacturing facilities at good price points, to the ability to compete at Chinese price points. So the whole idea of the whole steel ecosystem in India right now is how can we reach at a price point where we don't need protection from the government, from the Chinese imports. We should be proud to say we can compete against anyone. So that is the ultimate world-class vision that any steel player is working with today in India.
Fantastic answer, Rohit. I just love everybody. It was very clear when I said world-class, what do you really mean? So now we'll take the second last question over here. And I'm asking you this because each one of you guys could have decided to go to a metro city, right? There was the resources, there was the ability, but the question really is, what is the biggest competitive advantage of building from Kanpur, UP, that people sitting in Mumbai, Delhi or Bangalore ultimately underestimate?
So being in a commodity business, for us, I can just speak about us, the ability of good manpower. So we have a lot of manpower from UP who used to go into plants in Odisha, Chhattisgarh, south of India. So they were very happy to come back. So the ability to attract good manpower in UP, people who are from UP who want to get back home. So that's an advantage. Logistics, now being in UP, we are also central. The logistics to western parts of India, Maharashtra, Gujarat is very cheap from UP. So that is an advantage. So yeah, for us at least, those are two major advantages. Thirdly, just quickly, I'll take, is the ability to stay hidden. I don't know, in today's startup culture, it is, you need to be boastful, you need to market yourself. But also for us, we were not known in the stainless steel space for quite some time till we built a lot of scale. So there was no one trying to reach you or poach your people. You were quietly doing your work, and when you built scale, then everyone was suddenly surprised. We have had private bankers or NBFCs 5-7 years back. We don't lend to UP, but then when they come, they see your numbers and they're like, oh, you are doing this kind of work in UP. So that is also a very big advantage.
The ability to be in stealth.
Yes.
What most startup founders put on LinkedIn, na stealth mode right now. You are there. Over to you, Shashank.
So, I mean, just to add to this, I will not repeat it. So, the entrepreneurial character of the city is extremely inspiring. And we were discussing this during lunch, so I'll let Abhishek speak about this. But so I think building global businesses in Kanpur is very easy because you can go and sell anywhere in the world. You can go to Bombay and raise capital, but Kanpur will build character.
Wow.
And I think that is the most important thing. So obviously it's cost effective, attrition, availability, everything, all those things are there. But on a value-based system, I think the city has helped me to build character. And then you can get capital, market, people from anywhere.
True, true.
I think the biggest competitive advantage that people from UP have right now is the state itself. 6 years back, at any conference, we were looked down upon that we are from UP. Today, every single person that looked down upon a UP person wants to be part of this growth story. The government support has been tremendous. Law and order, infra creation, that's all the private community needs. I think I was mentioning it to somebody today. The cumulative capital committed to UP in 2015-2016 was 4%. So अगर पूरे देश में बैंक सब मिला के 100 रुपया लेंड करते हैं तो 4 रुपये यूपी में आता था 2015 में. आज के दिन वो नंबर 20 से ऊपर है.
Wow.
So you can imagine every entrepreneur, every budding entrepreneur sitting over here, that this is the place to be. You can imagine that if 20-25% capital is committed to UP right now, you can imagine what the state would look like in 5 years from now. Right, so that's the biggest advantage that all of you have, and entrepreneurial mindset Shashank mentioned about, that is there in the city. I was telling people that किसी और शहर में जाते हैं तो हर पेरेंट अपने बच्चों को एडवाइस देता है कि पढ़ लो, सरकारी जॉब ले लो, अच्छी एक बड़ी कंपनी में जॉब कर लो. बट यहाँ का जो आदमी है उसके दिमाग में हमेशा कीड़ा रहता है कि मैं कुछ अपना कर लूँ. मोस्ट ब्रांड्स ओवर हियर दैट आर देयर इन हॉस्पिटैलिटी, रेस्टोरेंट, व्हाटएवर, हार्डली एनी चेंज, एवरीथिंग एवरीबडी वांट्स टू डू ऑन योर ओन. हमारी कंपनी में जो लोग काम करते हैं उनके दिमाग में महीने में एक बार जरूर आता होगा ये छोड़ के कुछ अपना कर लें. सो दैट इकोसिस्टम दैट यू हैव, जस्ट गेट अलॉन्ग विद दिस लाइक माइंडेड पीपल एंड राइड ऑन द यूपी वेव.
Thank you.
So I completely agree with Abhishek on this front, and we actually can see the whole, the consumption story playing out, and we have the first-hand information on that consumption story. I'm the only guy from Lucknow here. वैसे मतलब मैं भी entrepreneurial चीज़ें गुण सीखने के लिए यहीं कानपुर आ जाता हूँ. So, but it's a fact. I mean, Kanpur has a lot of entrepreneurial energy, a lot of business energy, and in Lucknow, I can clearly say the kind of infrastructure that is being built, and Lucknow and eastwards, I mean Gorakhpur, Banaras, and up to Patna, it is unimaginable. And people sitting in Delhi and Mumbai, they cannot see it firsthand. You need to drive from Lucknow via Gorakhpur to Patna, and you will be pleasantly surprised with the kind of industrial development, kind of economic development, kind of hospitality, kind of beautiful cities that are coming up. It is unimaginable. And that is the kind of consumption, and that is the kind of sheer population load that we have. I mean, it's a major, major opportunity for any business to be in UP at this time.
Thank you so much. I think truly, I think the next gen, if this is what the next gen is, and there are more like you all coming out, I think UP, to your point, Abhishek, should take 50 rupees out of every 100 that is there and grow this thing as fast as possible, because when UP grows, all of India grows. Thank you so much, everyone, for all your time, and look forward to continuing in this story as we do more of these events in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your insights with us. May I now request Dr. Rao Vikram Singh, President, TiEcon UP, to please come up on the stage and felicitate our speakers and moderator. Requesting Sir to kindly felicitate our panelists. Mr. Shashank Agrawal from Kanpur, Plastipack. Thank you. May I request you, sir, to please felicitate Mr. Abhishek Kapoor from Regency Health. Requesting you, sir, to kindly felicitate Mr. Jay Agrawal from Gyan Dairy. And next, we would like to felicitate Mr. Anirudh Damani, our moderator from Artha Venture. It's now time to have a beautiful group picture. Big round of applause, everyone.